Travis. Hey, buddy. Guess what? We'll get ready to go to clinic. It's okay. Do you know who we're gonna see today?
Yeah.
We're gonna see your friends. You're a tuning machine this morning.
Another one?
He loves Star Wars. He likes playing at the park. He likes going through the car wash. You don't want the nurses taking care of you to notice you have stinky breath, do you? No. I don't like describing him just as a cancer patient because he's so much more than that. Oh, that's great.
3-year-old Jude Anderson won't get to have breakfast today because he's having a biopsy. It will decide whether he can undergo the transplant that could save his life.
When I took him to the 18-month well-child checkup, the appointment was just about done. We were almost leaving, and I just said, "Oh, hey, can you check out his legs? They have some bruises. I just want to make sure he's not anemic or something." And the doctor looked at them, and then he felt Jude's stomach to feel his spleen and liver, because now that I know this, that when you have leukemia, it becomes enlarged and you can feel it. And he felt Jude's stomach and just looked at me like he was looking at a ghost.
Okay, show me your hearts. All right, good job.
Within hours, lab results confirmed that Jude had acute lymphoblastic leukemia, or ALL, one of the most common and fast-growing childhood cancers. The ALL cancer cells were crowding out his bone marrow, preventing it from making normal blood cells. He was admitted to the hospital that night.
Within a day, he had already had his first surgery. He had his port placed that he gets chemo through. He already had his first treatments. It just all happened so fast.
In many cases, ALL responds well to treatment. 90% of kids with low-risk ALL survive.
I kind of clung to that of okay, most kids do okay, most kids do okay. Jude's gonna be okay. It's gonna be a bad chapter of our lives, but we'll get through this. That looks like your beak.
But Jude isn't low risk. He relapsed, and the return of his cancer cells brought with it a higher risk that he could die.
Somewhere between 30 to 50% survival for someone who has early relapse. He's a high-risk patient.
There are times when it's why me out of all families? We did everything. We ate right. He has a good sleep routine. You just wonder why.
To have a chance at a cure, Jude would need a bone marrow transplant. The problem was that Jude was even more special than anyone knew.
He has a genetic abnormality where he has no perfect match out of the entire 22.5 million people in the bone marrow registry. So he needs to have a cord blood transplant where someone who is pregnant donated their baby's cord blood, and that's a match for Jude. All right. You all set, Jenna?
Yeah.
To prepare for the transplant, Jude would also need more chemotherapy. This time, he enrolled in a clinical trial of a drug called blinatumomab. It fed directly into his body from a pump he carried in a backpack every minute of the day. Every other day, he visited the hospital to change out the medicine. Even on his birthday, in his brand new Jedi costume, he received a new infusion as his family prepared a party in the hall. Blinatumomab targets cancer cells more selectively, with fewer side effects, but it's not widely available because there's limited support for developing new treatments for childhood cancers.
Only 4% of the NIH and NCI funding goes to pediatric cancer research. Only 4%. So this is definitely not enough. For the type of clinical trials that Jude is enrolled in, it takes a lot of money. Like the particular medicine he gets, blinatumomab, is very, very expensive.
I can't do it.
It's probably $30,000 per dose, and he gets 28 days continuous infusion for 2 blocks. We're lucky to have him being part of the study, but we are not able to enroll any more patients because the trial is closed for lack of funding.
Faced with an uncertain future, the Andersons found strength in each other.
At the end of the day, there's only two people that really have to have the endurance to really see this thing through, and that's me and Barbara, really. And so you have to keep that in mind and be there for one another, as well as kind of keep the rest of the daily life stuff going there. He needs his parents more than anything, and so for that, we need to be the best we can be for each other and for him.
Happy birthday to you.
A lot of it is Jude. This is like how silly he is, and I mean, even during the toughest of times, he still was silly and got excited about stuff, and I really draw a lot of strength from him, as crazy as that sounds, because I know he's so little, but he really, really just, it's hard to be down when you're around him.
Ta-da! Ta-da!
So you were chosen to fight the blood monsters, and, well, don't eat the Play-Doh. And let's see.
Yes.
Well, how does the rest of the story go?
Tell me. Tell me, Mom.
Okay. You were chosen to fight the blood monsters because you're brave and strong and silly. Those are 3 things that you need to be to fight the blood monsters.
I really, really need your help.
Uh-oh,
Will you
Jude.
come out?
Uh-oh,
Jude,
Do you think?
you better go.
I really need your help.
Are you, Jude?
Hi, Jude. You can show Elliot. Do you want to introduce Elliot to everyone? Take him over and show him.
He talks about fighting the blood monsters, and he'll always say, tell me that story. In a way, I felt like he was like waiting for us to say something about it. After that moment, just seeing how much he latched onto that story, it was like, oh, that's why I'm here. To me, I feel like that's such an important part of the battle, is to give him a really, really great time while we can. I would hope that Jude, if we're lucky enough that he is here, that when he looks back and he remembers, maybe not quite so much the bad stuff, but he remembers the Star Wars party, and he remembers going to the museum, and if he remembers the doctors and nurses, he remembers like, oh, they were always really nice, and they, gave me presents. Happy birthday! That he remembers the fun side of it.
Happy birthday to you.
How old are you, Jude? You 3 already?
On the day of his
Count it.
biopsy,
1,
Jude is
2,
sleepy
3.
but ready. If the procedure reveals no cancer cells, he'll be okayed to travel to Minnesota for his transplant.
Sometimes with the blood monsters, to fight them, you have to take medicine. And what does it make you feel?
Yagi.
Kind of yucky, huh? We're gonna drive to Minnesota. And what are you getting done in Minnesota?
Tell me.
You're gonna get reinforcements in your fight. Do you remember what reinforcements are?
Yeah.
They're extra soldiers that come in to help in your fight.
Who's that? Who's that?
Well, they're blood monster soldiers.
Why that by myself?
Well, because they're gonna help you with your fight. And so when we go into Minnesota, you're gonna go to the hospital there. And you might feel kind of yucky with some of the medicine. But we'll help you, right? And the nurses and the doctors, they'll make you feel better? Yeah. And then what's gonna happen after that?
Baby go dog.
He's gonna be regular Jude.
Hiya.
2 days later, the Andersons have their answer. Jude's backpack of blinatumomab is gone, and a new journey awaits.
Jude's biopsy results were negative, and he has no evidence of leukemia right now. So he has none in his bone marrow and none in his spinal fluid. So we are good to go. Is that exciting? Oh my gosh, yay! Yay! That means that we can leave for Minnesota. Hi! Do you know what today is?
Yeah.
What's today?
My
Minnesota Day. Everything is on hold. You know, I mean, we're leaving our home. My husband's leaving his work for right now. My father is very, very ill, so we're leaving my father, who's here in Tucson. It's really just putting everything on hold in the hopes of curing Jude. What are you looking for? Before the relapse, I always thought that I wanted him to go to college, and I thought maybe someday he would be a nurse or a doctor and go into oncology. But really, since the relapse, I mean, to me, I feel like I don't really look much further than the next couple months. Right now, my hope is to come back to Tucson as a family, as 4 of us. Beyond that, I mean, I just always think about him walking into kindergarten on that first day. That would mean so much. I mean, that would mean he's healthy enough to go to kindergarten. That would mean he's still alive. So right now, that's kind of the furthest that I allow myself to think. And from there, we'll see.